Good evening, everybody, and welcome from Federico Gaviano of TDM 2000 International. I have the very big pleasure once more to be hosted here in the studio of Sardinia Goal, our local magazine, online magazine with its YouTube channel and Spotify vibe as well. And I have the pleasure today to be here with a very long time, big, amazing friend of mine, Irena Topalli.
Hey, that's so great to be here.
Especially to be called Irena, which is something that...
In fact.
Ira. So, Ira, I'm very happy to be here with you. I know that you have like a long history of working with young people in Albania, where you are from, but also like at international level, especially in the European context, on a number of topics, working as trainers, working as activists, so with a number of roles, and especially with Beyond Barriers for a very long time. And also like you've been involved in the Tirana Youth Capital, which was like a couple of years ago. So it's a very impressive curriculum, which is one of the reasons why it's good to be here, like to talk together about a very important topic for youth especially, which is environmental sustainability. As you know very well, we are cooperating with Beyond Barriers, which is running one project with the title Youth Care, which is a capacity building in the field of youth financed by Erasmus Plus and the KA2, putting together organizations from the Western Balkans to discuss about the topic of environmental sustainability, and especially to provide to young people from the Western Balkans especially, but also in general in the European Union, some tools and some skills to be more aware about what does it mean, like environmental sustainability, ecology, and all the concepts that are related with that. So how about that? Like, first of all, like what is your opinion on why it is so important for young people today to discuss about these topics?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you. Again, it's always great to be back in Sardinia, but also it's great that we can come back and sit and talk and chat on a topic which, now that I remember, is actually when we first met. I was working in environmental organization.
It is.
So time went fast by, and here we are again.
And the director of this magazine was there too.
So, see, history is made. As you said it just bumped in my head like, oh, our first youth exchange was in fact something about environmental education. So maybe starting it from that side, I would say it's unnecessary to say today why should we talk about environmental education, sustainability, climate action, because we see it every day. If, dare I say, and it's a personal opinion on that side, but I would argue that if some years ago we were societies that would look at big nature happenings as very further away from us, or, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, global warming was a thing of the very distant future. I think nowadays, all generations, we are really facing these problems. So sometimes the question I put up is, are we too late to start educating? Did we figure it out that it was all true, what they told us 15 years ago? That if we're not protecting the environment and if we're not working with our young people, with our kids even, from the very early ages, we might be too late. And there is a lot of fear around these issues today in Europe, in the world as well. I mean, if you take up only what's happening recently with hurricanes in America, which are a phenomena of nature that you cannot do anything about.
People
but
know about it, and
people know about it.
They try to figure out what to do.
And they try to figure it out. So in our side of the world, maybe we're a bit more lucky on that side, but at the end of the day, we all live on the same planet. So why it's important? Going back to your question, I would say it is vital, not simply important. Nowadays, I would really think it is vital for every parent to talk to their kids from very early ages about the environment aspect per se, in general, to teach them what it is, to teach them how to be active, to teach them how to be adaptive as well. It is important for us youth workers. And I mean, that's why we end up being here after 20 years doing something about it again and again, like we do every year. And that's why the project itself, Youth Care, is focused on how can we nowadays, the whole 20 years experience we have as organizations in youth work and non-formal education, how can we reinforce the environmental education through the non-formal methods itself? And I think that's a key that we should use more in our society.
You say a very important, I think, like word, like a very nice word, which is reinforce, which is not like provide, give, or make it like appear from somewhere, but is like to make it stronger, let's say. So it means that somehow it's already there. There is something going on, but we can do more because we have this 20 years experience, but also the perspective. Like we started long ago, many things changed, and we can maybe like provide the idea of what was going on. Because the first thing that would come to my mind would be like young generations today are much more aware than the older ones, not than us, I say, because we are like clearly like involved into this topic like on a daily basis in what we do. But younger generations in general are feeling it much more because 20 years passed and it looked like 100 passed from this point of view. So now every year that passes is like another 50. So the younger generations, they feel the urge much more than us, and probably they are much more prepared than other people from our generation to tell what is going on and how does it work. But in this context, actually, like we can still do something and use our expertise. And one of these things that we can do is to use non-formal education activities. So what can actually non-formal education do to reinforce these kind of concepts, and why it is like one of the ways in which we can actually engage young people and make it like not only like relevant but also interesting for them.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, luckily nowadays our young people are much more informed. And that already brings me to think education has worked. That's why they are. It has worked with us as well because we jumped easily in the beginning of it. But we, for example, where I come from, we never had any environmental classes or anything per se besides geography. That was still a subject that they teach you within four walls. And
you don't go out in the field and touch the plants with hands.
This is my first, I would say, argument why non-formal education. Because in youth work in general, I strongly believe it's time that we go out of four walls, out of classrooms, out of boxes, out of spaces and events, which I absolutely know. I do that also. And we all work on the same field. But I think youth work is now must go mainly into outreaching and going where the people are and the young person is. And I think in environmental education, because of the topic itself, because I believe it's something we cannot learn only through a book and only in a classroom, we need to teach our young people nowadays through doing things. And non-formal education, it's a hands-on learning experience. And it has been proven by so many researchers in the past 30 years that non-formal education and learning by doing the things helps the learners retain the learning and experience while they're doing it. And environmental education, sustainability, climate action and everything needs this type of approach, I believe. A second argument, I would say, which I see as crucial personally, I would say non-formal education makes it to also be a bit more flexible and adaptable because the environment also changes very fast. If you take only, take Italy, and what is the environmental issues that your young people live with being in an island here in Sardinia are not similar with what happens in Middle Italy. And strict curricula in our formal education, we nowadays all know that they are not flexible, while our type of work with environmental education or any other topic can blend very well because it gives you flexibility and adaptability.
It's adaptable,
and nowadays we're lucky that there is a lot of there is a lot of experts who can do it. Organizations in the youth sector are those that are on daily basis focusing on impact and working with the young people every day almost. At least a lot of us know so many organizations who work locally. So they know how to do it and they know the community. And I think they are the best agents to do this. How? Through the, as we said before, reinforcing the use of non-formal education outside of the classrooms, outside of the training rooms, but also in. Because for sure, formal education stays there and is there. It needs to be improved, maybe. At least in my country, it does need. But maybe in Europe, there is also space to talk about it. So how can we improve that? Let's also try to get more non-formal learning methods and tools within the classrooms.
I felt that like in your initial talk when you were talking about like outreaching, like reaching the places where young people are, but also like going out from the four walls where we are learning, and also like us and many other organizations as non-formal education practitioners are still sticking to like staying in the classroom, let's call it, which is not very non-formal in the end, or at least like it sounds still a little bit and it looks like a little bit formal. I felt like there is still like a need to have a little bit of an innovative approach. I mean, like again, 20 years we are there and we are doing this and that and we have the experience, we gathered this, and a lot of organization know this and that, but in the end it's important that something that we do is like connected with the target. First of all, it's feelable by them, not only because they're interested in the topic, but because like somehow they become engaged and interested in it. And to do it, you need to actually like as you told, probably reach them where they are, not only like to take them and move them somewhere else and say, okay, now you come into this place and I teach you this. We need to like reach them where they are with the things that are interesting
in
for
the community.
them. In the community.
In the community.
And the second thing, like still connected with these innovative things and innovative feeling, and again, like I feel it very much is to go out. It's education to environment, to sustainability, and so on. And it's like very important to actually like go out and not stay stuck into a certain view. So this is like something that I believe in, and I hope that we are doing, and I believe that like within the youth care project we are also like having this approach. But of course, to innovate, you need to have a strong base on that data, and that is exactly like what was done throughout the project. So in the first phase, in the countries where actually like there will be like this innovative approach for non-formal education for young people on sustainability, on environmental sustainability. Then there was first of all like research done through grassroots research, but also like desk research to find out more about what is the current situation. And I know that like you know about that as well, like the comparative study.
Yeah, I was lucky enough, I would say, to go through the study and to help Beyond Barriers with the document a bit. But I would say lucky because there is a lot of nice information that is produced there. The comparative study brings in light exactly what we're talking, that there is still a gap in linking non-formal education with the topics of environment, and with maybe adding one more spot of what we said and we mentioned before, and I said community. Because community engagement and environmental education coming together are more than you're just teaching the young people. It helps to retain the information itself, it helps them to learn, but it helps them also to raise awareness about the community. And this, together with a lot of other data, comes up in the study itself. One thing that I was actually just checking while we were talking, I remember a few of the data going through the whole study itself and reading out and how it reads in the 3 different countries. One of the things I remember is that experiential learning boosts environmental awareness with 60%. So
60%.
65 to be
65,
fair.
okay.
Yes, 65.
Even better.
This is a very telling number already.
Yeah.
And this for sure, it's a champion used in the 3 countries where the comparative study was done, but there is also worldwide studies that do show and approve the same retention of
it's
knowledge.
about Greece, Albania, and Montenegro, but definitely it can be
there
shared.
There is much more. So what we have out through the study found out that those that are young people coming from marginalized areas or marginalized target groups mainly, those are the ones that have the biggest difficulties in accessing environmental education at any form. So there we have another gap that we need to work on as a sector, to outreach them, to engage them, to go where they are, as we said. There was other data that also worldwide, actually, but in this study, one of the data that was very interesting to me was that 72% was the increase in responsibility towards the environment when kids or youngsters receive environmental education with types such as gardening or ecological works.
Yeah.
And there is back info to back it up, like why it happens. And I read maybe last month or something a study worldwide, and where it was talking about Brazil, where they researched this specific topic, that what is this huge impact that it gives to young people when they just do this. So going out.
I guess the more you get in touch with it, the more you respect it. It's the same with animals, other human beings, and you can name like a lot of other examples.
And I mean, maybe to close it on that, I would say one other important aspect is environmental education and sustainability and taking action. Helps young people a lot to develop critical skills and critical awareness. If we start doing this from an early age, we have more responsible citizens. And we have more responsible citizens that will then be able to fight bad decisions of our governments even. In Albania, we have, it's a case that was mentioned also worldwide a bit because it became big at some point, Vjosa River. Our government at some point decided to not look at it as a river anymore, to destroy it. Okay. And some activists took up the case and they really went for it big. So big that it ended up with having, I don't know, ambassadors from Hollywood like DiCaprio. And it was stopped, the decision. Why? Because this group of people who started the campaign, they come from these, I believe, target groups, and I know some of them very well, who are critical thinkers, and they know what we're doing and what we're damaging with the environment, so they have the ability to stand up. So if we start working more, if we continue, I would say, not start, because the work is always there, we can have young people that grow up to be stronger citizens, more aware of the environmental crisis, of the environmental action that needs to be taken, that care more about the environment in global point of view, but also very locally. And right now, for example, I'm also assisting one other organization with a communication campaign about environmental issues. And I was discussing with a couple of people, and I was telling them, do you have any idea how much water is wasted only when we brush our teeth and we leave the tap water open? Do we have any idea how many liters of water are wasted to produce a pair of jeans? A lot of these smaller actions.
Or a kilo of beef meat.
How much energy we spend when we go out of home and we leave every equipment plugged. Yeah. So these are, to us, they look so simple, but there is out there still those, especially coming from areas that don't have access to information, that do not know. And our role is to educate. And
it's important to use like understandable examples. Yep. Like I was watching yesterday a video that we produced like for something else like connected again with environmental education for another target. And the examples are helping quite much to figure out what does it mean. Like for example, the amount of CO2 which is produced for the transports that you use to reach a certain event is comparable to the one which is done by recharging 1 million of cell phones, for example. Yep. And this image is easier for the mind of someone to understand than to just say like this amount of square meters of CO2, which is like something
it's
very
a bit abstract, and youth work can make things look more understandable.
Yeah, more
That's the
practical,
power of
more
youth
real.
work and working on daily basis. Like those that look abstract and show only numbers and percentages and stuff that young people and kids cannot really understand. It's our task as youth workers to really make them come simply to the citizen, any type of citizen,
and that's why
they can understand.
And that's why the study and our campaign is good, because this data was chosen and made it a little bit simpler and easier to understand and put in different images, let's say.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we had in Beyond Barriers in mind with the study itself, and also now the team is working on the manual creation. That is the next step. It's to bring it also in a friendly language, that it makes sense to people. That it makes them really realize, we're talking about this, because we have to be aware nowadays that not everybody can absorb data the same way.
No.
So we need to simplify things and not lose the content, but simplify them so it gives proper sense to people, and then they can take action when they understand it. So that was also one thing looked at through the comparative study itself before publishing the whole thing.
I would like to close with just one kind of call to action, but also a better understanding on what's in store, let's say. So we have upcoming training of trainers, which will happen from 10th to 16th of December in Albania, in Durrës, for people coming from the 4 countries that are part of the partnerships, and then of the partnership, and then we're going to have local actions as well directed to young people. So for a youth worker, why to take part? For a young person, why to be involved in this?
I would absolutely say for the youth worker to take part, especially it's a training of trainers. So we have all the partnership of the Youth Care Project has very good expertise in various fields, not only environment. So whoever is a youth worker and hasn't started yet the road of a trainer, or is a new trainer with wanting to become much better, that's the event to start with. And I believe we need more and more people in the society who can transform learning, as we said, and what we talked so far, bring it out to the public. And they can make a little difference. I usually I'm a bit maybe too idealistic at times, but I always say,
sometimes,
even if we change just the mindset of one single person, it's still fine. Even if we just instill one simple idea in one person, and that person will take this 1 week training, and then they will do just one local workshop in their school to test themselves, we've done something. So I would absolutely say go in the training. It's a quality event. You meet like-minded people and professionals who are willing to engage and to also network. And I would definitely say to all young people, I know the feedback of those who have participated in the project so far, and it is very positive. And to others, I would say take your climate action every day if you can, either in a training of youth care or any other project, either back at home, either in your school, either in your community, either with your friends. Be mindful that we are actually living in this global world, but it's not ours only, and we should not ruin it for those that will come after us.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Ira, really, for the inspiring words, and in general for having this chat with me about the project and the topic today for this about 20 minutes. And actually, have a good evening, and see you in Albania next time.
Yay! Thank you very much. It was a very nice closure of the day, actually. So I really enjoyed our chats about important topics today. So thank you for having me.
See you soon.